Welcome back. All right, today we're going to talk about being unstoppable. What comes to mind when you think about your life and you being unstoppable? For most people, it's probably going to be like living their biggest, boldest life, having their dreams materialized. Everyone wants to just skip to the results, right? Making money, being fit, being successful, recognized, whatever it is. And after you get all that, then we'll focus on your feelings later. Feelings are annoying. They're heavy. They're in the way, in the way of being productive. But the secret to getting or not getting the life that you're going for is the feeling. Yeah. It's the driving force behind everything we do or don't do. It will drive how successful you are, how efficient, how much you learn, how in shape you get, whatever it is, everything. And there have been so many cool studies, neurochemical studies that show then that when these chemicals get blocked, like dopamine, serotonin, GABA, that the person loses all motivation. The other really interesting thing about our feelings is that it's not just that they're the motivators behind our action or inactions or reactions, but often it's like the things that we most want in life when we think about it, it's because we think that they're going to make us feel a certain way or avoid feeling a certain way. So for example, like why do you want a padded retirement account? Why do you want to have a partner? Why do you want to land a job? Is it because when you think that you have that padded retirement account, the money is going to give you the feeling of security? That the partner that you want them because you think it will give you the feeling of love or being desired. That the job that you want is going to give you the feeling of accomplishment, like whatever it is. And anything that you want to create, anything that you want to have happen is because that you think that you're going to feel a certain way in the having of it. And that's really important because whatever feeling you think you're going to have once you achieve that something, that's the feeling you need to start generating right now in order to achieve it, which is not what we're taught at all. We're taught that we have to wait to feel that feeling until we have that thing. And this is so powerful. So let's think of something that you want right now. Let's say you want to land a job because that's going to make you feel secure, right? You're like on the job hunt and you don't realize that you can generate that feeling right now. You can generate a feeling of security even before you land the job. Because if you're waiting to feel security, you're always going to be in the wanting and kind of a desperate, hurried, anxious feeling to get that job so you can finally feel secure. And we want to just skip straight to that part where we sign the contract, we feel good, we feel secure. It's the same thing when thinking like we want to get skinny or rich or whatever because we think it's going to make us feel a certain way. And this is a really important distinction because if you can generate that feeling ahead of time, if you can connect to it right now in the present, even though no one's telling you have the right to, you haven't signed that contract yet. What do you mean you feel secure? But if you can connect with it now, the whole process becomes enjoyable. So let's say you're interviewing at 10 different places, and in the one way, you're waiting to sign that contract to feel secure. So like rejections number 1 through 9 are going to be horrible, miserable, painful. You might even give up. You might question if this is even the right thing for you because every lack of contract that you get or final visit or whatever is just confirming this belief that you're never going to get there and you feel more and more desperate. But if you just have this unwavering internal self-sourced feeling of security, let's think about how that opens you up so much differently to the whole process. Rejections 1 through 9 are just 9 steps closer to getting you to number 10 because you know that at some point you're going to get there. And that feeling of security actually propels you forward in a calm, measured way. So it doesn't matter that you didn't get hired 1 through 9 because you're already living from a place of security. So you can allow it to happen. It's okay. You just move on to the next job interview. So I want to go a little bit deeper, like through actual model to illustrate this, because let's keep with the job scenario, right? So in the one situation where you're waiting to feel successful, and let's say you're on interview number 5 because 1 through 4 didn't come through, you feel anxious when HR reaches out to you, like you're not sure how to respond back. You're ruminating, you're delaying answering their phone calls, you're procrastinating because you have to answer with the exact right thing because that's the only way you're going to get the job. And then when you get the job, you can feel better, right? But if you are feeling secure ahead of time, then you can pick up the phone. It's no big deal. HR just wants to ask you, a couple more questions, your start date. You can talk to them as freely as you want. You can email them without thinking twice about it. You really can take your time with the negotiation if you can negotiate. I know certain jobs maybe you might not be able to, but it really influences the way that you show up for all of us. It's ironically, you need that feeling of security to land the job because you have to have it in order to drive all of those steps to engage with the potential employer, to go through the process, to negotiate. And so you're more likely to get the job that you're looking for when you feel secure ahead of time instead of feeling so anxious and not returning their calls and not being able to negotiate the way you want to and allowing all of that to be rushed and, messy and have that almost feeling of out of control. And on top of it, like we said, the beautiful thing is that you've enjoyed the feeling of success the whole way through. It doesn't matter that 1 through 9 didn't hire you because you've neutralized that circumstance ahead of time. You've chosen on purpose ahead of time the meaning that you're going to give to the process. So let's dive in a little bit more to what are emotions. It's just a vibration in our body, and it's caused by a sentence in our mind, which I think is really powerful to talk about, the experience of an emotion as a vibration, so that you can just watch yourself have it. You can observe yourself have it. It's an experience in your body versus a sensation, just to quickly clarify, of communicating from your body up to your brain is I'm cold, I'm hungry, this is hot. It's a sensation that your body is trying to communicate you about physical sensations. And so the other way, the feelings is what we're talking about, which come from our thoughts, because it's an important, I think, distinction that sadness or anger don't just happen to us and we're at the effect of them, but they come from some thought that then generates that vibration. So we know that there's this whole wide array of emotions that we're all going to experience as humans. But when you ask most people, what do you want in your life? Most people say, I just want to be happy. And most of us are raised believing that the goal is to make this big, emotional, messy, complex life of ours teeny tiny to one singular emotion, which is happy. And of course, we know that that's just not reality. And, it makes it worse that we see on social and with our friends, this almost stigma that being sad or angry or upset are somehow bad. And so all we show other people is the good, even if we have to pretend. And if I were to ask you, okay, sure, I get it. I'm not gonna be happy all the time. And if I were to ask you a percentage of well, how much of your life do you want to be happy and how much other? Most people would say 80-20, at worst 70-30, which again is not the reality, right? Life is going to be 50-50, 50% positive and 50% negative. And so many students are that, no, there's no way. Nope, that's not my life. And I remember I was that way too. When I first learned this, I was hell no, 80-20. That's me. I'm going to be 80% happy. And now I know this woman has already told me the secret to happiness. It's my thoughts. So I am just going to do Jedi mind tricks and just believe all the good thoughts and all the happy thoughts and all the positive thoughts. And I'm going to leave an 80-20. This person is crazy. 50-50? No way. And I think that's a really telling belief that reflects our society. It's like how we're raised, I think, in this age, in this culture, to believe that the goal is to be happy. So to get good grades, to have a good education, to have a partner, to have a family, to have a good job, to make a contribution in the world, to be a good person and donate, do all of those things and then you'll be happy. And so we're constantly in this pursuit of happiness and we keep trying to find it out there. So it just begs the question of like, then why even have negative emotion? What's the point of negative emotion? Why wouldn't we just want to be happy all the time? And the most simple answer to that is that the dichotomy, the contrast of unhappy helps us appreciate and really live into the happiness. So like you can define, for example, stress by the lack of peace. And so you need the experience of stress to know when you're having the experience of peace and vice versa. And so to create all of these amazing, beautiful, wonderful, positive vibrations and experiences, the opposite of them is required to exist so that we know and can appreciate and feel when we are in the yummy ones, right? And so not only are we taught that we should be happy all the time, and then we go back to this idea that like our whole society believes it. And so everybody has like these wonderful pictures that their life is so wonderful and happy. And so then we definitely think something is wrong with us. And so we're even at more costs trying to avoid any semblance of pain, suffering, grief, anger. And we try and stay away from it and we try and avoid it. And we, try to escape it. And all we're doing is putting a whole nother layer on top of it, which is escaping and having these like false pleasures so that we can distract ourselves. And so when we start to feel this negative emotion, or let's say even like boredom, frustration, you're upset, whatever it is, then we think something has gone terribly wrong. I shouldn't be feeling this way. And I don't know what to do with it. And so instead, I am going to do something that feels similar to feeling good. So I'm going to eat. Even though I'm not hungry, I'm going to drink. I'm going to numb out with Netflix or medicine or relationships or whatever it is. I'm going to escape. Or I'm going to have something that's adjacent to feeling good. And then we still have to go back to this original feeling that we have never done anything with. It's never been processed. And now we've added a whole nother layer of like judgment, of frustration that we spent our time, energy, resources scrolling on our phone when really like we would have loved to, have that hard conversation that we needed to have or grieve over that, patient outcome that we have been avoiding or whatever it is. So it sort of gets compounded and then we get in this loop. And that's the tricky part about escaping it. And what we want to offer here is to learn how to stay within the negative emotion, not try to outrun it, not try to outwit it, not try to get away from it, not try to escape it, but just to feel it, to be fully present with it. It's half of our life. It's like trying to escape our life. And when we can allow for the negative emotion without trying to escape it, but allow it to be part of our life, we will have such a more deeply full human experience. We're so often taught to run away from it, right? Like if we're unhappy with our job, most people would just say, quit your job. I'm unhappy with my marriage, quit your marriage. I'm unhappy with my body, change your body. I'm unhappy with whatever it is, well, then just change that thing. And so the solution is always what we're taught is changing the circumstance. And it never is about the internal experience of our thinking and our emotion about that circumstance. And that's the point of the awareness exercise and being self-aware. The goal is not always to be happy. What if the goal is just to embrace the wholeness of our human experience? Because the more we push away the negative or uncomfortable, the more it's going to grow. And so if we just allow it without judging it, without being scared of it, then it opens up our life so much more. What is doubt? What is confusion? What is humiliation? What is failure? It's all just a vibration. What if we took away the labels of negative and positive emotions? What if they're just comfortable and uncomfortable? Like, what if we take away the labels and the judgments on emotions? What if they're not positive or negative? What if they're just comfortable or uncomfortable? So let's do this silly exercise. But I think it's helpful to take away the fear and the judgment against uncomfortable emotions. So I want you to picture like alien or somebody who doesn't really understand here life on Earth, and they're like observing that you are doing all these things to avoid feeling this feeling. Let's say it's feeling left out, feeling alone. And they don't know what emotion is, but they see that you're like eating when you feel alone, or jumping on your phone, or doing something, trying not to feel it. And they're like asking you, what's so bad about this feeling? Why are you doing all of these shenanigans to try to avoid it? Like, what would you say to this little Martian? Oh, it's just because like I feel hot in my cheeks and my heart kind of races and my stomach feels a little bit upset. And like maybe the Martian is like, what do you mean? Like, are you going to die from it? And you're like, no, it's just that it just feels funny. It feels uncomfortable. Like it seems like a silly exercise, but it also helps us see that we do all these gymnastics in order not to feel what? Flushed cheeks? In order not to feel like a heaviness in our heart? In order not to cry? And so we spend all this time running away from these vibrations. And our primitive brain loves us. Remember, it loves us. And it doesn't want us to feel left out if we're using this example. It wants us to stay in the tribe because it doesn't want us to die. It loves us so much. But we know, like we are here, we can take back over. We know that that's not really what it means and that there's nothing to be afraid of. Instead of like bending over backwards and escaping it and running away from it, we can allow for it. We can breathe into it. We can name it, which starts to give us power over it. It starts to give us some separation from it, because running from it is actually hurting us. It's not allowing us to live our life. It's like this roller coaster, right? And it's almost like if you knew that I had like a little syringe, let's keep with the loneliness example, and I had a syringe and it was labeled loneliness, and I'm going to come inject you and you will feel loneliness for 2 minutes. And after 2 minutes, you know, guaranteed 100% that it's going to be gone. So here you are, you're all prepared. You know that it's coming. You know that it's finite and you're ready. Then what do? How does that experience shift and change? You are probably going to brace yourself. You are going to prepare yourself. You're going to be watching your mind. You're going to be like observing your body, like, ooh, okay, ooh, yep, this is what loneliness feels like. I know this is going to pass. Oh, isn't that interesting? Huh, I see this color, or I feel this way. My heart feels like this. My stomach feels like that. Oop, yep, okay, and it's done. Whew, right? And that's how we can think about thought and feeling work. The feelings don't just happen to us. We can allow for them. We can make space for them in that same way as like, I'm going to inject you with 2 minutes of loneliness. You can do that for yourself. And then you're so much more willing to experience it because you know it's going to end, right? And it's the same with life. You can't control life. Like shit's going to happen and you can't control any of that. But the one thing you can control is your mind. You can pretend it's like the syringe exercise, right? You wouldn't like immediately like grab a cookie or a glass of wine or the controller. You would just say like, okay, this is interesting. This is what loneliness feels like. This is what shame feels like. This is what embarrassment feels like. This is what frustration feels like. And now it's over, right? And you're prepared for it and you brace yourself from it and you detach yourself. You become the observer, you name it. And that, my friend, this one small thing of not trying to solve for the emotion, but allowing the emotion, that is how you make all of your dreams come true. That is the answer to doing all of the hard things, because when you open up to this part of your life, when you open up to the 50-50 of life, you have authority over it. It's so powerful to understand. Like staying in the positive, staying in the comfortable, That's fine, but that's also staying in the same. You don't change your life. You don't live your dreams. You don't take risks. And like none of us made all these sacrifices, did all this schooling, all this training to stay the same. That's literally the point of why we went through what we went through, to be something else, to become something else, to have a big dream, to have a big goal, to change our life, to change our patient's life. And that meant moving in discomfort. And you knew that that period was going to end so you could support yourself through it. But what about life? It's the same thing. Do you want to feel uncomfortable? Because it's going to get you closer to where you want to go, because you're growing, because you're courageous. I want to stay in the uncomfortable half. I want to be uncomfortable. There's nothing wrong here. There's nothing that means I'm doing it wrong or right. So I can stop worrying about it. I can stop judging it. I can just allow it. What is the worst thing that could possibly happen in your life? It's your emotion. Think about it. If I fail at this, think about it. If I set out this dream, if I need to have this hard conversation, if I need to make this change in my life, the worst thing that can happen is an emotion. I fail at it. This person judges me. Whatever it is, right? It's all neutral. It's all actually, if we go back to the model, all of it is circumstance. Whatever the person said to me is neutral. Whatever the goal that I didn't achieve is neutral, right? Whatever patient outcome is neutral. And the feeling that we have is the part that we want to avoid. We don't want to feel like it failed. We don't want to feel like someone judged us. We don't want to feel the sadness of our patient outcome. But that's the worst thing that can happen. And if you're willing to feel the worst thing, that's it. You've taken directive over your life. Not one is better than another. It's just different. It's just a different experience of life. And there's so much freedom in allowing that fear, allowing that anxiety in order to get to the peace, the acceptance, the hope. You just have to be willing to feel it as long as it takes. If you are willing to feel any emotion, you are unstoppable. There's nothing you can do. There's no hard conversation you can't have. There's no change you're not willing to make. There's no, realignment of your life that you're not willing to take. You're unstoppable. You don't have to solve for the emotion. You just have to allow for the emotion. And your life will expand and your experience of life will expand. So for our ending tradition, I'm just going to throw some more questions at you that you can think about at home. What are your top 3 emotions? What do you want them to be and why? How would your results and your life change if you changed your top 3 feelings? Would you keep them the same? Why or why not? I am wishing all of you play, possibility, and peace, wishing you to feel so supported in this space and so honored to be a part of your soul tribe. Sending you love and see you next week. Bye.